Hi, hello, hi fam. It is I, Smriti of House. I am very late for this August wrap up, but that is what we're doing. We're going to be wrapping up the 9 books that I read in August, and to be honest, August feels like 16 years ago. So I may or may not remember a lot of these books, so I will try to kind of wrap them up the best that I can. So let's begin. Are you ready? No. Am I ready? No. So let's still do this. The first book that I read was Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. I have been saying sour for the longest time, so please forgive me. I am just dumb. I don't know why I was saying that. It is sower, like sowing seeds. Never mind. So Parable of the Sower is about this girl who lives in this colony of sorts in a dystopian world in the US, in California, and essentially the world is basically ravaged by climate change and a bunch of things. So people live in these colonies whenever they can, and essentially it's like the middle class who can afford to live in these colonies live there. But there are people who are on the outside who can't afford these things, and they regularly kind of try to attack these places, and all of that sort of stuff, because that's just how they do. I don't know if I'm explaining this well enough, but hopefully you're putting two and two together, and are figuring out what it is. um, Anyway, so this colony, and she lives with her family. Her father is a pastor, and she has a lot of thoughts on religion and stuff like that. And then, of course, the inevitable happens, and the colony is destroyed by drug addicts and a bunch of other scary people. So she basically then has to like go and find refuge elsewhere, and it's about that journey and about her seeking that. But at the same point of time, because her father is a pastor, she has a lot of thoughts about religion and what should religion and spirituality be. So you see that, and it's basically her then making a new religion, which is strange if you think about it, but it's really well written. So you're just like, this all of this makes sense. So I really enjoyed the book. I don't think that it is a book for the light-hearted sort of readers, because it is very troubling. The sort of stuff that they kind of go through, their trigger warnings for like um, rape and violence and just a bunch of things. So just be aware of that. And yeah, that was Parable of the Sower. This is also a duology, so I would want to read the next book, which is the Parable of the Talents, which I'm actually really looking forward to reading soon. The second book I read was Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And this book, what do I have to even tell you about this book? Because pretty much everyone knows about it. If you haven't read it, you watched the adaptations. And I was a person who watched the adaptation, and I was like, I know the story already. Why do I need to read the book? And now I know why I need to read the book, because Jane Austen is just such a fun writer. I absolutely love the way she writes her characters, and like the wit and the banter that she has. It's absolutely lovely. I totally understand why people are Austen fans now, and in fact I have started reading more Austens because I just yeah, I want to. Also, see, we look like a Christmas tree. The third book I read was Rising Heat by Perumal Murugan. Now, this is a new book of Perumal Murugan, which is actually the first book of Perumal Murugan. What is this, you say? It is because this is the first ever book that Perumal Murugan wrote, but he writes in Tamil, and hence this is a new release because it was just translated. So this book was written in the 1990, in fact, 30 years ago. And it tells you the story of this one boy, Selvan, if I'm not mistaken, and his family. They had land which was then taken over by people to create like a colony of sorts, and they're resettled elsewhere. And essentially, it tells you the story of his life, of how his family and things change because people come in and take over their place and their land, and how it people deal with that. So it's how they deal, how his family deals, as I've explained, and also how they then interact with the colony that is then built on that land that they had. And I thought the story, of course, was really good. I love the way Perumal Murugan writes, in terms of, as I've said this multiple times before, even in my previous videos, which I will link above. He just has this way of completely immersing you into the atmosphere, and building you this picture of what this area, this place might be. So I really appreciate that about him, though I did give this book 3 stars. Oh, and I gave Pride and Prejudice 5 stars, and I gave Parable of the Sower 4 stars. The fourth book I read was Behold I Shine by Franny Manekshaw. Franny Manekshaw is a journalist, and she has spent a lot of time in Kashmir. Hence, this book is about Kashmiri women and children, and how they have to deal with all the trials and tribulations that they're going through in Kashmir. This book was a really short one. I read it within a span of a day, and I really liked what it had to say. I think it gave you a little bit of a primer of what was happening, what is happening in Kashmir, as well as it gives you perspectives from the women and children, which you don't really see as often. So I really appreciated that, and I thought her writing was nice, simple, and hard hitting. So definitely recommend this one. It is available on Kindle Unlimited, and I think I gave this about 4 to 4.5 stars. The next book I read was The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. This book I had read many years ago, when the movie had just come out, and then I was asked to be part of a discussion, an online discussion on the book. So I reread it, and it was really nice because I really enjoyed my time reading it. The book tells you the story of Gogol, who is a boy who is a first generation, you could say first generation, right? Yeah, first generation American Indian. We see the perspective of his family and his mom and his dad moving to the US, their love story, and then Gogol and how he kind of grew up in the US, being an Indian American, and the sort of differences that there are between the two of them, in terms of the two generations. And I just really loved this book. I have always loved the way Jhumpa Lahiri writes. I think she has this simplistic sort of way of writing. However, it really does get all the emotions out of you. And yeah, Gogol, I think in our discussion we did say that Gogol was not the most likable character, so I would have loved it if I could have gotten more from, say, for example, the mother, who's Ashima, or from the father. But this book still did make me feel a lot of things. And of course, I gave this actually a 4.5 on 5 stars, which is probably the only 5 star I haven't given to no, actually, no, wait, Lowland. But yeah, I loved the book. I just didn't like Gogol as much. I understood where he was coming from, but I just still didn't like him as much. He was a little whiny bitch. Sorry, Gogol. If you have read this book, please let me know if you think I'm the only one who thinks like this. And also, if you watched the movie, please do watch the movie, because the movie is amazing. And Tabu's amazing, and so was Irfan Khan. Just one of my favorite movies of all time. I do plan to watch it, actually, maybe today. Yeah. Okay. That was it about The Namesake. The next book I read was A Suitable Boy, and I have a 53-minute video where I talk about this book. So, do I need to talk about this book further? No, probably not. But please go read this book if you can. The reason why I read this is because the adaptation is out is not yet out on Netflix, but is in BBC adapted it, and it is going to come to India on Netflix soon. So I'm really excited to watch that because I am in love with this book. This book honestly might be one of my favorites ever. I just love the way Vikram Seth writes. He is brilliant, and while I may not agree with a lot of things in terms of how the book ended, I do understand it. And I still think about this book, and I read it more than a month ago, and I know I'm still going to be thinking about it many months, weeks, maybe even years down the line, because you spend so much time with the characters that you become so whatever what is it, attached to them. And I just love this book. It's so good. This was a 5 on 5. If I could give it more stars, I would. I just really love it. Oh, what is this book about? Very quickly, this book is about multiple families in the 1950s in India, in a fictitious state called Purva Pradesh, in a fictitious city called Brahmapur. And the suitable boy is because one of the family matriarchs is trying to find the main character Lata a suitable boy. But in this process, you go and discover and a lot of the other families, and you get involved with their stories, and just there's a lot that happens. So read it. The book I read after that was this really short, tiny novella called I Think I Love You. And this is part of a three novella trilogy of sorts of three sisters called the Love Sisters. And it follows this one girl, I'm forgetting her name even now, but she owns a gelato store, which I was like, hashtag goals. And she comes into contact with this really sexy vet, and then they have this cute relationship that kind of starts, and it's essentially just like 100 or so pages, but it is really cute. I like the way it was written. I like the relationship dynamics and how it kind of unfolded, and how they were mature enough to have these conversations. And even though there was a bit of an age gap, I still appreciated it because all of them were kind of mature enough to have these conversations. And yeah, I really liked it. I gave it, I think, a 3.5 on 5, or like a 4 on 5. I'm not too sure, but it was a fun, good, happy read. The book I read after that was Black Flamingo by Dean Arter, and hello, can you please see how beautiful this fucking book is? But this book was stunning. It is written in verse, and it is a book about this boy who is Greek Cypriot, half Jamaican, and it is about his story growing up, and coming to terms with the fact that he is a gay or he's queer, and just learning to kind of live with himself and the sort of dualities of his life, because he is separate, his family is separated from his father, and yeah, so basically it's coming to terms with identity. And when he goes to university, he starts dressing up in drag, and that becomes an outlet for him to kind of express himself. And I thought that it was really beautiful, and really well written. And I listened to this as well on audiobook, so I would highly recommend that. But it's just really well done, and there are these small little like essay poems that he's written as well, in between, which I really liked, and I just really like the way that he's written, and I gave this book a 4.5 on 5 stars. And then the last book that I read was New Erotica for Feminists, which was basically like this really quick read that I read, which is essentially, you know how like the like in porn movies, etc., it's like, oh, like the boss called me to his office and then like something sexy happened. But in this one, it's like the boss called me to the office and then he promoted me again and again and again and again. And I was like, cool. It was essentially taking the idea of saying like, this is what's sexy to us, for us to be treated equally, and with respect, and that's basically what the book was. And it was just basically these small little like snippets of things, and it was okay. I gave it a 2.5 maybe on 5. It was cool. And then after that, I went into a ginormous reading slump. So that was cool. So that was my August wrap up of last month. Do comment down below and let me know if you've read any of these books or you plan to read any of these books or what books you read during the month of August. I will still love to know. I love talking about books. So anything about books you want to talk about, I got you, fam. And that's about it. Hope you like this video. Stay tuned for many more coming up. And if you think I look like a Christmas tree and you're still here, then comment down below with a Christmas tree emoji so that I know that you were here till the end. Okay, bye.